All right, good morning. I'm David Reimer with the Texas Storm Chasers. It is 11:16 on the 27th of October 2021. It is currently the 27th of October, Wednesday. Sorry, long night. I'm confident in saying we just had a brief tornado touchdown just west of Morrinsville in the Golden Triangle once again, and I'll tell you why. We're going to switch over to the correlation coefficient product. See that little blue donut right there? I'm confident that's a tornado debris signature in association with a brief tornado. So, regardless, damaging straight line winds and unfortunately potential for at least brief tornadoes with a line segment currently moving over the damage path from the earlier violent tornado that extended from just west of Orange up to near Deweyville. This line segment's capable of producing destructive straight line winds of 60 to 75 miles an hour. This is the which way the wind is blowing mode. You can see the radar is detecting hurricane force winds over 80 miles per hour, and this is going to be moving across Highway 62, same areas hit by the tornado less than 90 minutes ago. Moving northeast at about, let's say, I'm going to say 35 miles an hour. Let's double check, though, before we make that official. About 30 miles an hour. So, again, a dangerous situation, not only in areas that were just hit by a violent tornado about 90 minutes ago or less, but also for first responders who are currently dealing with the damage in those areas. So, Deweyville, Morrinsville, Orange. Go ahead and treat this like you would a tornado. Potential for extremely strong straight line winds in excess of hurricane force. Potential for 70, 80 mile an hour straight line winds. And again, we did just have a brief tornado west of Morrinsville about 5 minutes ago based on a well-defined tornado debris signature. Unlike the supercell earlier, this is not a supercell. This is a line segment. This is a complex line segment at that. Looking at the velocity data again, this is almost what I'd call a comma head. It's a very broad, large circulation. It's not a supercellular, clear-cut couplet like we had 90 minutes ago to 2 hours ago, but it's definitely a storm that is putting out a lot of wind and is certainly capable of causing additional wind damage, although I don't think this one's going to be launching a Polaris several hundred feet in the air over Interstate 10 near Highway 62. That's what the tornado earlier did, by the way. There's a video of a Polaris, a $35,000 Polaris, getting lofted up in the sky like it's a toy. Yeah, that was not a weak tornado by any stretch of the imagination. Okay, so again, severe thunderstorm warnings through 11:30 for Orange, Bridge City, all the way down. I believe that's Sabine Pass. This storm over south side of Port Arthur, Sabine Pass actually has a very impressive velocity signature as well, putting out winds over pretty much 90 miles an hour. This is probably a circulation trying to spin up. That'll be moving into southwest Louisiana very shortly. And we have the storm currently going down Interstate 10 with winds of 70 to 80 miles an hour moving east, crossing over Interstate 10 near Highway 62 and 73, where the tornado did earlier. That's where the Pilot Flying J is. This will be crossing over Highway 87 near Orange over the next 20 minutes, and potential for hurricane force winds out of the west, 70 miles an hour. And then this little thing near Morrinsville, about 7 minutes ago, put a brief tornado down west of town based on a tornado debris signature. This doesn't look like a situation where we're having a strong long track tornado. This is the squall line situation with brief tornadoes. But again, given the fact we have a lot of damage out here, we have a lot of first responders working. Those first responders need to be in shelter given the very strong winds coming in from the west. The good news is the storm will move out quickly. Severe weather threat will be over, and they can get back to work dealing with the damage and the aftermath of the relatively long track, strong to violent tornado that passed over these areas about 2 hours ago. Radar detecting 80 mile an hour winds. We're looking about 2,500 feet above the surface. These storms are moving east at 30 miles an hour. So we'll zoom back out. Let's go ahead and turn off the local radar. Let's switch to the regional radar, and we can take a look at exactly what we have going on across the entirety of the state. Squall line moving off the southeast Texas coast. Rain now ending in Houston. Squall line extends up Highway 96 through Jasper, Buna, east to Tenhaya now, moving into Louisiana. So, and Texarkana sub-severe storm. So, once all this is done, frankly, next 30 minutes, these storms will be out of the state of Texas. I can go to bed. We'll be done with the severe weather threat, not only for today, but for probably quite a while, as a winter-like pattern sets up for next week, and we switch to a cold air mass. So, with that being said, a line of strong to severe storms, 60 to 80 mile an hour winds moving east on I-10 right now into Orange. Passing now east of Beaumont. Severe weather threat for Beaumont proper should be ending here very quickly, as the strongest winds are now east of town. Strong winds pushing on into Orange. We'll switch back over to the which way the wind's blowing mode. You can see a very good rear inflow jet signature. That's the, well, here, I'll just telestrate it. Kind of bowing out here. See how it bows? This is rear inflow jet. Very strong wind, 60, 80 miles an hour coming in on the back side of the line, pushing it out east, and that's how you get the bow signature. Switch back over to the how hard it's raining mode, and there you go. Rear inflow jet. Likely have strong winds in Morrinsville right now. We had a comma head tornado about 10 minutes ago, a few miles west of town. That was probably only down for a minute or two, but was enough to loft some tornado debris, unfortunately. So we'll clear the telestration. We'll do some probing. I'll actually turn the telestrator off. There we go. Wind 60, 70, maybe even 80 miles an hour with this rear inflow jet riding east down I-10 from near Morrinsville, coming into Pinehurst, Orange, Highway 7362, where the tornado lofted at Polaris earlier. If you haven't seen the video, you will. The video's insane. Someone was on I-10 filmed the tornado crossing the interstate, and it was lofting a Polaris several hundred feet in the air. They actually found the Polaris, by the way, afterwards. Needless to say, it's totaled, which is why you don't be in a vehicle during tornadoes. These storms moving east 30 miles an hour. Be out of the state shortly. Port Arthur, very strong winds now offshore, moving in Louisiana. That thing might put a tornado down the next hour. These storms will all have to be watched, but our previously tornadic supercell that produced the strong tornado earlier, approaching Alexandria, Louisiana now, no longer tornadic in nature. So, with that being said, I just want to provide one final update. Hopefully you won't be seeing me again today. Otherwise, thank you for joining us overnight. I believe we're in hour 15 or 16 of our severe weather coverage now. Storms began all the way back west in west central Texas from near Quanah all the way down to San Angelo. Moved all the way east like we said they would across the eastern two-thirds of Texas. Most of the night we were all right. We had some strong winds across Denton County, parts of the Metroplex. Had some strong winds around the San Antonio, Austin metros. Had a couple spin-up tornadoes in the Houston metro, and then obviously we had a long-track violent tornado, unfortunately, east of Beaumont, just west of Orange, up to Deweyville earlier. So we'll hear more about that, I'm sure, as the day goes on. But the videos of the tornadoes across Interstate 10 certainly are, well, interesting. Obviously, folks filming those were not actually watching our live coverage, because we said don't be on that stretch of I-10 a good 20-30 minutes before the tornado crossed, and whoop-de-doo, you had a vehicle lofted at 700 feet in the air. So with that being said, the severe weather threat for Texas, it will be completely over in the next 20 to 30 minutes at lunchtime. In the wake, we'll have strong northwest winds with a cold front coming on in. We're going to have strong northwest winds today, tomorrow, Friday. Actually, we're going to have an increased risk of grass fires, red flag warning conditions across parts of the state, especially folks who haven't had rain. And the northwest winds, 40, 50, even 60 miles an hour in spots. So make sure your outdoor Halloween decorations are tied down and secured. If the storms this morning didn't loft them, the winds over the next 2 days are going to try their best. So let's not have that, please. With that being said, thanks for joining us for our severe weather coverage. Y'all have a good rest of your day. Have a good night.